Every spring, it happens. You look out at your yard and your weeds are already winning. Bright green patches everywhere. But your Bermuda, still brown, still asleep. And it feels like those weeds just showed up early. They didn't, they just run a different race. This is one of the most frustrating parts of early spring, because visually, it looks like your lawn is behind. The weeds look alive, the grass looks dead. And when you see green before your lawn greens up, it feels like you're losing. But what you're actually watching is a temperature race most people don't realize exists. Here's the reality. Weeds germinate at lower soil temperatures than Bermuda activates. Not air temperature, soil temperature. Most common spring weeds begin germinating when soil temperatures reach the low to mid 50s. Bermuda doesn't activate until soil temperatures consistently reach around 60 to 65 degrees. That 8 to 10 degree gap, that is the head start. And in spring, a few degrees is the difference between moving and waiting. Now, here's something most people don't think about. Not every spring warms up the same way. Some years, the soil temperatures will move quickly through the 50s. Other years, it'll stall there for weeks. And when soil lingers in that 50 to 58 degree range, that's prime weed territory. But it's still below that Bermuda activation. So the longer it stays in that middle zone, the bigger the weed head start becomes. That's why some springs it feels like weeds exploded. The race conditions favored them. And then you look down the street and one lawn is already greening up. Yours isn't, and now it's personal. But small soil temperature differences matter. Full sun will warm faster than shade. Darker soil absorbs more heat. South-facing areas activate sooner. And once that Bermuda crosses that activation threshold, it does move quickly. But until it does, it will not pretend. Here is where people misread it. They see weeds early and assume the lawn is weak. But weeds winning early does not mean the grass is losing long term. It just means the whistle blew at a temperature that Bermuda does not respond to. Early green does not equal dominance. It equals early tolerance. Now here is what really matters. An early head start changes pressure. If weeds establish while Bermuda is still inactive, they're using sunlight, moisture, and space before the grass even begins to compete. So when the Bermuda finally activates, it isn't starting on an empty field. It's entering an occupied one. That doesn't mean that Bermuda can't take control, but it does mean it has to outgrow something that's already there. And that's why early spring feels intense, because you're watching one plant move while the other is still waiting on its temperature signal. In early spring, weeds move fast, but movement and control are not the same thing. So if you see weeds before your Bermuda greens up, that doesn't mean your lawn's behind. It means the race started at a temperature that your grass hasn't activated yet, and weeds got the early whistle. And here's the part that most people miss. While the weeds are germinating in cooler soil, your Bermuda is still preparing underneath the surface. If you don't understand what's happening below the ground during this phase, it's easy to misread what you're seeing above it. In my previous video, we talked about how spring doesn't actually start above the ground, it starts at the roots. If this temperature race makes sense now, that last video will show the other side of it. Watch that one next, it'll complete the picture.